Why is it important to identify your audience? Got a lot of experience with this. I'm going to tell you exactly why. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so it is critical for you to understand who you're marketing to, who you're trying to get in front of, what they value, if you're going to be successful. A classic example of this is, I think it was either Ford or Chevy, I'm not sure, but one of them had a car that was a huge success here in the U.S. called the Nova, and they just took that name brand and they ran it down in some of the Latin American countries. Well, technically, Nova translated specifically says no-go. So selling a car that was a no-go didn't sell very well. Oh, surprise. In that particular case, they hadn't identified their audience. And this is one of those areas, whether you're giving a speech or if you're looking to do marketing, whatever it may be, it's really important to know who you're talking to and what they value. So I've had the good fortune to work with leadership teams all over the world. I give speeches internationally, and helping to understand who you're talking to is important. Because the language, the things that matter, the stories, and how you connect with them will be very, very different. In some cases, if you're looking at it, the three primary things, and I talk about this a lot in the marketing components, that we start with are, what are the three areas that we want to know about the individuals in the room? The demographic, the geographic, and the psychographic. So as an example, if I'm giving a speech in front of 500 entrepreneurs, well, the demographic is, in most of those cases, it's not nearly as important, but most of the times they're going to be a little bit younger. Some of the entrepreneurs, sometimes they're older, in the 50s, but a lot of times, we're going to say, oh, they're between 30 and 50. So you see, I just aged myself because for some of you, 50 might be really old. But I want to understand roughly where they are because it'll help me connect with the stories or the different pain points. The second, in some cases, is where are they from? If I happen to be giving a speech in Latin America and I'm talking about snow in Colorado, it may not connect. It may land completely flat. So I may have to make some adjustments. Same thing when you're looking at your marketing. Where are the people you're marketing to? And what are the pain points that they're looking at? And it helps you identify the demographic of who they are and the geographic of where they are. And then lastly, when we're looking at the individuals, is you want to try and identify what is the psychographic. And the psychographic is, what do they value? What are the things that are important to them? So I have very colorful language when I'm working. I probably shouldn't, but I use lots of four-letter words. If I happen to be at a Christian conference speaking, I better make sure I really understand that, because those people aren't going to value that language. In fact, they'll get frustrated and I'll alienate them if I start dropping F-bombs. But if I happen to be working with a bunch of young teenage or 20s entrepreneurs and I start dropping some F-bombs, I actually connect with them. So it's important to start understanding some of their values. Now, the next piece, especially if it's looking at marketing, is to understand what are the problems you're solving for those people. What is the problem you're solving for that group? If you're marketing, whether it's an individual video, here, in this particular case, the problem I'm solving is helping you to identify what's important in your audience. Why is it important? But if you can narrow that down and really clarify for people what it is, what's the problem you're solving, and then what are the outcomes you're looking to achieve? Meaning, what are the outcomes they want? If you can help somebody see, hey, I want to be successful. So if you're watching this video, you're wondering, why the heck is it important to identify my audience? Well, I'm guessing that that's sort of a symptom because I don't really know, but I know what I've been doing hasn't working and I'm nervous about investing money. So, okay, those are the problems. Now the outcome is I want to be successful with my investment. I want to know that if I'm making a marketing investment, I'm putting money down, I'm going to get more back. Great. In this particular case, hopefully that can help you with it. So once you start defining those things, then if you're marketing, you can figure out where they live and the platforms they use in the different areas. And once you start to know that, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to have your avatar of who you're going after, knowing the problems you're solving, and knowing the outcomes you're providing. And then you just primarily talk about the outcomes you're providing. Don't focus too much on the features and benefits, but focus more on the outcomes. And when you do that, once you get it started, then you can test and test and test and test and test. So one of the key, or one of the most famous of this is any of the great comedians. If you think of, if you know old Jerry Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld was notorious. All of the great comics were known for going to little known clubs and being some of the guys towards the end of the night just to go out and practice, because they wanted to see how their audience took it. How did the audience react? They needed to know, and they knew their audiences better than anybody. People see, Jerry Seinfeld or old Eddie Murphy or some of those people go up on stage, like, oh yeah, these guys just knew what they were doing. They just were really good at it. They were, but they also knew their audience, and they worked their ass off, and they tested it and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. So once you start to do these things, it's going to really help you to maximize the dollars that you invest. And that's why it's important to identify your audience. So hopefully you found some value with this. If you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us at aspiringsolopreneur.com. Please check out some of the other videos on the channel, subscribe, forward it on. Thank you so much for investing the time. Keep smiling.